Talking about erectile dysfunction isn't easy. Most brush it off or blame themselves, saying things like, I lost my mojo. Or people make excuses. I had a long day at work. Sorry, honey, I'm just not feeling it. Guys, with Roman, it's easy to talk about. With a real healthcare professional who can prescribe real medication, it's simple, safe, and totally discreet. With Roman, you get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for ED, all from the comfort and privacy of your home. A healthcare professional will work with you to find the best treatment plan. If medication is appropriate, Roman will ship it to you with free 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward, simple, and discreet. Getting started is just as easy. Go to GetRoman.com/Chael. Complete an online visit. Go to GetRoman.com/Chael today. If approved, you'll get $15 off your first order of ED treatment. Suga Sean O'Malley came out and made a statement. The statement is this: Dan Hooke should be a bigger star and have more opportunities than he is. Hard stop. Great. No disagreement. How? How do we do this? I don't know that I could like Hooker any more than I like him. I've never met him. But he's telling a story, and I'm along for the journey. One thing that Dana White has done that no promoter, including Vince McMahon, and Vince matters, right? If you have the power of a script and you still can't get it right, no promoter has ever been able to do what Dana's done, which is to make losing acceptable. Go visit with some boxing promoters if you ever have a chance. And in your entire life, you're likely to never even meet a boxing promoter. If you do, ask him how come he can't get the right guy to fight the right guy. Why can you not get a guy that's 11-0 to fight a guy that's 12-0? And the answer is because the sport has not allowed losing to be acceptable. One of those guys' unblemished record is going to have to go, and they won't get in there with each other. Just simply won't happen. If you lose 2 fights in boxing on the smaller circuit, you're never going to be a main eventer. If you lose 3 fights, you will never fight for a world championship. If you lose 5 fights, you're done. If you ever lost 10 fights, you're a bum. You are a bum. Not only will you never be fighting for a paycheck again, you can't even start training guys because they don't want to learn from you. They never made it acceptable. But in every other sport, the greats lose all the time. LeBron James has lost 2 times in a week, and become world champion that same week. The greats lose. Tiger Woods has lost up to 20 times in one day. In one day. The most recognizable golfer, and arguably athlete in the world has been beaten by 20 people. That is normal for sport. But in the fight game, there's only been one guy that can make it acceptable. That's Dana. Now, why and how? It's important that you know that. And I will tell you until I'm blue in the face, becoming the world champion, right? If you're here for the money, and you don't have to apologize if you are, this is a profession, but if you're here for the money, and you think that the world championship is the ultimate destination, you're wrong. If you think that the main event and being on the marquee and having the poster is the ultimate destination to get to the money, you're wrong. The ultimate spot you can get to in this sport is when the outcome of your previous fight no longer matters. If you can ever get to where the outcome doesn't matter, you've won. And if you look at the 3 biggest stars that we have right now, monetizable, quantifiable, bankable stars, it goes in this order: Conor McGregor, George Masvidal, Nate Diaz. They all have one thing in common, which is they not only all lost their last fight, they all lost their last 2 fights. They're still the biggest stars. You cannot say that in boxing, not just now, not just for a specific weight class. You could never make that statement in boxing for any weight class over time. They've never made it acceptable. Now, I have boxing on my mind, I think because I just watched Wilder and Fury. But it is something very relevant because as Dan Hooke is bringing us all along the journey and has just signed a contract to fight stylistically the hardest and most unlikely match that he could possibly win, Sean O'Malley makes this statement. Now, Sean O'Malley is making that statement as a way of shining up Hooker because Sean, as a competitor, looks around, sees what Hooker just agreed to do while not being able to go home to his home country, his beautiful family. He's away from his coaches and his gym, and he's still going to go in the midst of a goddamn pandemic and take on a guy that the sports books, DraftKings specifically says, is a 3.5-1 favorite to stop him. And he's going to do it anyway, without reservation. Dan Hooke could have said no to that fight. You never would have known he was offered it. It just wasn't one of those fights. It wasn't one of those fights where any little fight promotion would have been done where the promoter brings it to the media. The promoter expected him to say no. He had just fought. We're in a pandemic. He can't go home. He's not training properly. He's a 3.5-1 dog. You never would have known if he would have turned it down. But he said yes, and O'Malley wants Hooke to get his credit for that. I want Hooke to get his credit for that. I think that we have a few more guys like that. A few more guys that are bringing us on the journey. And we don't care if there's a bump in the road. They've told us their story. What their intent is important to them, which means it's important to us, the viewer. And O'Malley's right. A guy like that deserves his shine. How do you get it for him? A little bit harder question. But let's stay on the theme. Let's work through this, and let's do what Sean said, and let's show Hooke a little bit of respect.